Welcome back to the Tapes Archive podcast, where we release interviews that have never been heard before. In this episode, we have one of the most prolific songwriters of the past 30 years, guided by voices, Robert Pollard. At the time of this interview in 1995, Pollard was 37 years old and was promoting an upcoming concert date in Indianapolis. In the interview, Pollard talks about the collectability of his records and hoarding a few himself, the business side of making money in the music biz, who he thinks is a creep, and how he gives hope to all other garage musicians. As always, we have music critic Mark Allen at the helm conducting the interview. If you'd like to support the show, please like, follow, and subscribe to us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. There, we post other content and information not available on the podcast. If you'd like to read the transcripts for any of our episodes, please head over to our website at thetapesarchive.com. We'll jump into the interview after a quick word from our sponsors.
Are you fed up with constantly searching for the records you want? Are you tired and frustrated from always straightening out your LPs? Now with K-Tel Record Selector, this will never happen again. To choose your favorite music, tilt the first record forward. The others follow automatically. Pick your selection when it appears. To choose more LPs, lean the next record forward and wait for your choice. The Record Selector is a new space-age design for selection and storage of records, attractively finished in a gift box. K-Tel Record Selector, only $3.99.
One last thing before we get to the interview, the Tapes Archive podcast is a proud member of Osiris Media, a global community connecting passionate fans with podcasts and experiences about artists and topics you love. Thanks for tuning in, and now it's time to open the vault.
274. Leave a message at the beep.
Bob Pollard, this is Mark Allen.
Hey, what's going on?
Hi, good. How are you doing?
Good, man.
Okay.
Around.
Oh, okay.
What's going on?
Nothing. Sorry I'm late. I had to drop off my little girl at school. The traffic gets pretty bad at this hour. It took me a little while longer than I thought to get in.
No problem. Just hanging out, drinking coffee.
All right. And what are you doing up? You shouldn't be living the rock star lifestyle. You should be going to bed just at this hour.
14 years of programming, man. Getting up at like 7:30 every day. I can't seem to break that. I get up. I sleep a little bit later. It's not so hard to get up if you don't have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
The morning also is like it's the most creative time. A lot of people that get writer's blocks and shit, they can't write is because they don't get up in the morning. They sleep until 2. I get up pretty early.
Well, I'm guessing that writer's block is not a problem you ever have anyway.
No, man. I try to write every morning. When I got home from Europe, I wrote, I sat down one morning and wrote 15 lyrics, and they were pretty crazy. But then I went and wrote the next day. I got the same time and made another pot of coffee and wrote the music to it. So now I have a new album. In 2 days, I have a new album.
That is great. 28 more songs? Is that?
Yeah, it's like 15, so there'll be more.
Yeah.
But I always try to keep it. I always want to make a shorter album, but then I always just keep tacking songs on, and it ends up like our new album was originally going to be all recorded in the big studio, and it was only going to be I think 13 songs, but now it's like half and half, and it's 20 songs. So. You got to give the kids their money's worth. Yeah.
Now this is the album that you're working on now.
Yeah, well, it's finished. We got one more song to record that I'm adding. I wrote, and because right now it's 19 songs, and I'm going to add one more to make it even 20.
Okay.
Plus, I wrote this really good song that I want to put on there, and so it's finished basically. We have an EP. We have a 6-song 7-inch coming out next month. Well, actually, first week of November, called Tiger Bomb, and it's got a couple of re-recordings of some songs from Alien Lanes for radio play, which is, some people think it's unfair, but we'll have to put a sticker on there saying this is the new big versions of them, and then maybe we'll put a sticker on Alien Lanes saying that, features the lo-fi original 4-track versions or something.
Right.
I told him to do that. I don't know if Matador will do that or not. But anyway, it has those 2 songs, and it's got 4 more unreleased songs. And then we finished a 12-song, a 10-song 12-inch, which will be out in January.
Oh, man.
That's finished. I just sent all the artwork in for that. And then our album, I guess, will be out in March if Matador sticks to their schedule.
Yeah, so you're really just cranking stuff out. That's amazing.
Yeah, cranking them out, and then I tried to get more money from Matador because I just wrote all these new songs, and I want to record them, and I don't think they're going to give it to me. I think they said that we have to wait until like our next album comes out.
Right.
I think we're way ahead of ourselves. But see, that's the thing though. Is that that's what I like to do. I like to write songs. They should be happy. You know, I could be one of these guys like. They have to beg, you know, hey, when are you going to come up with the rest of the material? Like, do you ever see the Dana Carvey skit on Saturday Night Live where he's the rock star and the record company asked him to come in. They want to know what he's come up with.
No, I never saw that.
He makes them all up on the spot. Oh, that's hilarious. It's on his grocery list. Yeah, that's hilarious. I think it's on the best of Saturday Night Live. You check that out.
Okay.
It could be like that, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just like to write. I like to write songs. It's what's fun. It's what makes me happy. I can't believe I get to do it now for a living, you know. That's my job. I get to sit around and write songs and cut out pictures and shit. All the things that my mom and dad said that I needed to quit doing.
Cut out pictures? What do you? Oh, for the.
Oh yeah, for collages and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Doing stupid shit, as my dad used to call it.
That is great. I mean, you're living kind of like a friend of mine said that you have given hope to everybody who plays in a garage and is in their 30s.
I think that's true. You know, I mean, for us to kick around that long and then for something to finally happen, is a great hope for kids. I mean, I've talked to kids like they've written me and they go, well, I'm frustrated. You know, we've had this band for a year and nothing's happening. I mean, that's a mistake a lot of kids make, and a lot of they have ambitions for something to happen to their music, and so just do it because you like to do it. You know, That's what we did it because it was fun. You know, we couldn't believe that we could actually none of us came from musical backgrounds, and we couldn't believe that we could get together and pound out, make noise with amplifiers and 3-string guitars and shit like that. We couldn't believe it, so. We didn't care. We just wanted to make records.
Yeah, but
we don't care about making money. We just love to make records.
Uh-oh, you've seen a Don's Guns commercial or something.
Like I say that? We've got some guy around here who says we don't care about selling carpet. We just love. We don't care about making money. We just love to sell carpet.
Right. Well, this guy says, I don't want to make any money, folks. I just love to sell guns. And then he's got this really, sadistic laugh.
I just want to sell guns.
Yeah.
I want guns to be in your hands.
Yeah. Yeah. The funny thing is, this guy's pro-gun control. I mean, he owns these gun stores, and he's pro-gun control. But that's a slogan, and so okay.
That's pretty nice.
Now, but it's not just kids that you've given hope to, because you've given hope to like every guy who's been plugging away in his garage for 15 years.
That's pretty weird because we appeal to youth and to older people. People. Yeah. Oh, really, man? I mean, there's a lot of guys that I know around this area that now the major labels are swooping down on them again. You know, I mean, they've been, because they're looking for another kind of By Voices. They're thinking, there's got to be, if there's one band like that out there, there's got to be more that's been toiling away in the basement for years, and have all this backlog of material.
Well,
they're doing that, and there's some of these older guys are getting some attention now.
But there are thousands of bands like that.
I know, yeah, but they're looking for. I guess they're looking for somebody that maybe is good.
I mean, but if you look at it, I know some people in this like very fringe collectors market, who go out and they try to find these these people who put out like designer, basically they maybe press 300 records for their friends when they put their band together, and there's just hundreds and hundreds, and there are records in there. Like there was a band here called McKay, I think, and they made like 300 records, and I've seen catalogs where their record sells for like $1,200 on a collector's market. And are
they pretty good?
They're okay. I mean, it's very 70s sounding stuff, but it was okay for the time, I'm sure.
Record sells for $1,200. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Our second album, Devil Between My Toes, we only made 300 of those, and that's got to. I bet that's worth a lot of money. Yeah,
I mean, and if things keep going, it's just going to be worth more.
I know.
Now, when the only time you've played here, as far as I know, is Lollapalooza a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and we played. Is Bloomington pretty close?
Yeah, Bloomington's like an hour south.
Yeah, we played there.
Okay.
That was a good show. That was a nice crowd.
Yeah.
Is it going to be a good show?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Cool.
I think so. Anyway, so I took my little brother to see you, and he was probably 13 at the time. He's 15 now, and he asked me to ask you, is most of your stuff still available? Where can it be bought?
Well, the original stuff is not, but most of it's in that box set. I don't know if he has the box set.
Yeah, I think he does have the box set.
Hey, also tell him that I know the show we're playing is like 21 and over. You know Todd Robinson?
No.
Well, he owns a store there. I'm not sure what it's called, a record store, but we're going to come in there at like 5 o'clock and hang out, and eat pizza and drink beer. And I guess he's going to advertise, and he wants a lot of kids to come in that can't come to the show and talk to us and that kind of thing. So he wants to come down.
Yeah, well, he lives in New Jersey, but
does he?
But yeah,
but a lot of that stuff is not available. It's just in the box set, and like even a lot of the 7-inch EPs, are just getting pretty much hard to find. I think City Slang's going to repress Static Airplane Jive. Some of that stuff is tough to find.
Did you save stuff for yourself? I mean, do you have
copies I have
for your...
a few of everything.
That's
but
good.
It's down to like, some things I have like 3 or 4 copies of, and that's it. I wanted to not get below 5 of anything.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I know that's kind of gluttonous a little bit, but we used to like our early when we put out the records on our own, and didn't. We just kind of hoarded them in the basement, kept them to ourselves. We didn't know what to do with them. How we used to take them and give them away. People wouldn't even take them. They didn't even want them. Oh, I don't have a turntable, And we'd throw them like frisbees and shit.
Oh boy.
Now they're worth like $150 a piece. Oh god.
Yeah. So this is what, your first or second record for Matador? Is Alien?
The one coming up, is our second.
The one coming up is your second.
Yeah. Well, we've only put out one album for Matador so far, Alien Lanes.
Okay, and
well, actually, 2. If you count singles, we put out the Motorway single. That was Matador. Mm-hmm. And then henceforth, all this stuff's going to be on Matador. In our contract, I think we can actually put out a couple, 2 or 3 releases by other people, but I just don't see the point in doing that if Matador is going to put out, they'll put out anything we want, Except now they're pretty slow about it. I think they think we're flooding the market with stuff. If we pump it out, put it out, people are going to, what's the difference whether they buy our album or our EP, as long as they're buying our stuff, I don't know.
Well, it must be a marketing strategy or something like that. It must be a marketing strategy.
It is, it all has to do with recouping advances and things like that, and just giving records time to sell. We're involved with bigger companies now and with publishing companies, and I signed a publishing deal and all that. And I'm kind of, I'm trying to be compromising. I don't want to put too much on them. I want to give, they give you a certain amount of money for the album, and you got to give it time to sell and to make back, and give them time to make money on it. So. It is a market and it is an industry, so they got to do their job. But my job is to write songs and put out albums. So put them out, please.
Yeah,
I'm doing my job.
Yeah, I bet there are a lot of people who would like to have somebody like you on their label, be prolific and having no problem. But anyway, I heard the NPR piece on you guys yesterday, and I thought it gave 2 misleading impressions. And let me ask you if I'm wrong or right about this.
I heard it. Somebody told me about that.
One impression that I got was that anybody could do what you did. I mean, and I don't mean make records and stuff, but I just mean like it gave the impression that if you hang out in your basement long enough, somebody will come knocking and offer you a record deal.
Yeah. Well. If what you're doing is that will happen. Yeah, I don't know what context that was taken in, but if that would happen to you if what you're doing, if you sincerely believe that it's like something that satisfies your soul, which I did, mm-hmm. then that'll happen to you. If you're just doing it with some kind of like false ambition that if I do this long enough, somebody's going to find out my talent or whatever, and you're doing it with in the back of your mind, you're thinking somebody's going to discover you. If you do it that way, then it probably won't happen. But if you do it just because you want to do it, then it's something. Then good things will come to you. Good things will come to those who wait or whatever.
And the other impression that it gave was that you're making not huge money, but fairly substantial money.
Yeah, I'm making better money than I did. Now, the thing is, though, it's like, you get a chunk here and a chunk there. It's not like, it's not like a 9-to-5 job with benefits and the security and all that.
Right.
But, I'm making a lot more money than I did teaching, which I think is a pretty sad state of affairs in society.
Yeah.
where our society's priorities, God bless society. But yeah, I mean, we all were able to quit our jobs, and we're able to make a living at it. So,
that's
we're not rich or anything, but we're making money.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't give the impression that you were rich, but he gave the impression that
we're making pretty good.
That it was pretty substantial amount of money that you were like, well, and I think to myself, and I do the math, and like you're playing here at a $400 capacity club, and it's $7 to get in, so that's $2,800. You know, so obviously,
we'll finish up the St. Louis show. We get $6,000 for an hour.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good. You know, that's
the thing is, you know, that's not where we make our money. Really, we don't really make a whole lot of money live because there's so much. You know, we're a business now, and we have to take out payroll taxes, individual taxes. We have to pay our management 15%. We have to pay our accountant 5%. We have to pay our booking agent 10%. We have to pay expenses. See, they get all those before expenses.
Right.
So by the time we'll do a tour, and we'll make $30,000, and we might make $1,500 a piece.
Yeah, and that's for how many weeks' work?
For like 3 weeks, probably.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're not, I mean, it's good money live, but it's not great money. My money's coming, most of my money's coming from my publishing, as a songwriter. So, like, you know, it's just like, that's what I'm hoping, you know, I'm 30, I'll be 38 in October, and, you know, my hip hurts, my left hip hurts and shit, and I don't know how much longer I can jump around on stage and get hammered and shit, you know, so hopefully, you know, when that's finished, I can continue to be a songwriter for however, you know, as long as people need songs.
When I listen to your records, I always think like Beatles a lot. Were you a big Beatles fan?
The Beatles are still. I know. You know, they were a bit hokey, and they were, you know, they were such an icon and everything. You know, but still, I mean, their records were the greatest. I just don't think that, like, mainly because of John Lennon's songwriting and because of Paul McCartney's sequencing of the record and the time he took into making the records and putting the records together. I don't think that people can make records that good. And I try to make a record like that. You know, not necessarily copy the Beatles' songwriting style or what they do. I naturally have a kind of a John Lennon voice. I guess I grew up on John Lennon's singing style, you know, McCartney and that kind of thing, the British Invasion. But I try to put a record together the way the Beatles did, you know, the time they took into sequencing the record. And because we have access to, mainly we've had access to a 4-track, I try to make it sound like kind of like a long-lost Beatles bootleg, you know, a Beatles bootleg of like just long-lost studio stuff that you can't get anymore.
Yeah, there are times where I think there are songs that sound like the Beatles are goofing around in the studio.
Yeah, I love when the Beatles are goofing around.
Right.
I kind of went for that. I occasionally find bootlegs and I find studio stuff that were like the Who or the Kinks or the Beatles or whatever, and they're just like messing around and making up silly shit in the studio. And that, to me, that's some of my favorite stuff.
Yeah, and I also think of records like the Who Sell Out. You know, you know, these are influenced.
I like to think that all of our records are semi-conceptual, you know, and just the way that they're put together. Like Alien Lanes to me is like a kind of like you're tuning into this weird radio station from another dimension. Except there's no DJ, you know, they just all kind of bust together. So like all the records seem to have, they're a little bit conceptual, kind of like Who Sell Out or like Sgt. Pepper, that kind of thing, you know. You
taught school for 14 years, 4th grade, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think of kids? Are kids getting dumber?
Well, kids are getting actually, I mean, technically smarter with computers and video games and all that shit. But I don't know. Maybe in common sense wise, maybe they are. I don't know. Some of the stuff they listen to. I got to be happy with kids. You know, kids are like paying my bills right now. I have to be happy with them, man. I like to think they're smart because they listen to God By Voices. Right. But then when they listen, a lot of them they're on the, you know, still listening to some of this Pearl Jam imitation shit, and, you know, like the Nirvana rip-offs like Offspring and bands like that. I like to think that I tend to think that they're kind of being kind of dumb and just led along, you know, by whatever they hear.
Hey, you don't think the Offspring have anything to offer?
From what I hear, no. You know, maybe I'm. You know, I don't have any other records or anything, but from the stuff that I hear on the radio and I see on MTV, it just seems to be pretty much derivative. You know.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that's true, but I think, you know, it's pretty hard to come up with something that's absolutely novel anymore.
It's extremely hard. I've tortured myself with that for years. I've always thought that we sounded like too much like someone else. Like that sounds like somebody else. That sounds like somebody else. But then it got to the point where we sounded like so many different bands and so many different eras that you can't tell what we sound like, and we almost have developed our own sound.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, you've had how many years to do this?
Since we started doing original stuff in like 81, so like what is that, 14 years?
Yeah. So you've had time to develop that.
As long as I taught, kind of like I had a side project. You know, before that, I used to play in like cover bands, like metal bands and bar bands and shit. You know, in like the 70s. It's pretty sad.
Yeah. And have you lived in Dayton or the Dayton area?
I've lived in Dayton all my life. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So that's not a place where people usually are discovered from.
No, it's not a place. It's not a real hit place. It's getting better. I mean, there's starting to be some bands that are like. I mean, you know, obviously when bands start to experience success like the Breeders and like we have, then the labels are going to come swooping in. So there have been like 4 or 5 bands that have been signed to like some pretty good independents like Grass, and Brainiac just got signed to Touch and Go. Mm-hmm. So like, it seems like it's a happening thing going on right now in Dayton, but it's still not. It's still backwards. The media doesn't support bands. They think it's bad for the kids. Now they're trying to bring it down. They bring out things that happened, like the Kelly Deal incident. They've kind of focused on the fact that we're like old, sad drunks or something. Yeah, they've written bad things about us in the paper. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
In the Dayton paper?
In the Dayton paper, yeah.
Oh, man. Not Dave Larson.
Yeah, that fucking creep Dave Larson.
Get out of here. Really? That's unbelievable.
Yeah, he followed us around for a long time. But see, we had a show at Jilly's, and we invited like 4 other bands to play with us, Kim Deal's new band, and 3 other Dayton bands. It was just a big party, and everybody was having a good time, and everybody was drinking, and just by the time we came on, we were last, we were pretty smashed. But we played the show, and everybody had a good time, and our amps broke down in the middle, and we had to stop for a while, and I told some people and they turned the lights on. Our part of our show was only like halfway done, and they turned the house lights on us because they were all pissed off and everything because everybody's having a good time. So I said, hey, don't leave, we're not finished yet, we just blew an amp. And he wrote it up in the paper that I was like laying on the floor begging and crying for people not to leave because we were sucking so bad. Yeah, he just completely exaggerated. I mean, the headline was GBB throws this one away. And then the next day he wrote another article said substance abuse still prevalent in rock, and then talked about us and Kelly and everything. Just like that kind of thing. And there aren't really any really cool record stores here. I mean, like really hip. To get really good records, you have to go to Cincinnati or Columbus. There's no place to play. There aren't any clubs here. I mean, there's one club called Canal Street Tavern. It only holds like maybe 200 people, 250 people. So it's not. A lot of people are misconstruing that this is this really hip city, this really hip town, and it's not.
Yeah. Well, I never thought of it that way, but I'm real surprised. Dave Larson, that just doesn't. I mean, I know him a little bit, and that just sounds really.
Stick to reviewing Whitney Houston and stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. Holy crap! I mean, I don't know. People...
and I listened to the. And as a matter of fact, we're putting that show out as a bootleg. This guy in town is putting it out as a bootleg with that article as the cover. It's gonna be really cool, yeah. And we listen. I listened to it, and you can hear some of the things I said, but they're completely taken out of context by what he said. And it's like for the first 18 songs, we ripped through them. It sounds great, man. I didn't, it got sloppy toward the end, when everybody was just. And yeah, Mitch threw up on the stage, like you said, and everything. But that was after the show, and it was like behind the drums. So.
Well, it sounds like you're having a good time.
It's fun. We're going to play. Well, it's not scaring us all, that kind of stuff. We're going to play another day. We like to play Dayton. We're playing playing a University of Dayton show October 12th at the pub.
Yeah. Well, that's
we've invited Real Lulu. They're a cool band. There's some pretty good bands in Dayton. Now, despite all the the bad publicity, the bad press, and nowhere to play. There are actually some pretty good bands in Dayton.
Yeah, you're actually getting a good local Bloomington band, I think, opening for you here. I think it's going to be Velo Deluxe.
Oh yeah, John Strong.
Yeah, John. Do you know John?
That's a good band. They played with us in Bloomington.
Yeah.
And I like them.
Yeah, John's a real good songwriter.
Yeah.
I want to ask you. So the new album, what's the title of the next album going to be?
The title of the next album is called "The Flying Party Is Here."
The Flying Party is Here. Okay.
Don't ask me what that means.
All right.
It just sticks to my, my concept or my use of visual of flight imagery. Because we're from the birthplace of aviation, of course.
Right.
So we have to use all that rocket and airplane imagery.
Okay. And you're recording with Steve Albini, is this right?
Yeah, we did. Well, on the album there are 3 songs recorded by Steve, 5 recorded by Kim at Easley in Memphis, and there's 1 recorded here in Dayton at a big studio, and then the rest, like 11 of them, are like a 4-track. Mm-hmm. So it's like half and half.
Just recorded at home.
We're easing our way into that big studio. The next one will probably be all. But, we just got to... Those were good experiences, but I still need... For our next album, we're going to go into a studio. We're going to find somebody who is completely sympathetic to what we want, and they're going to let us do exactly what we want. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's going to be like, I have to make it on earth as it is in heaven, man. It's got to be like it is it has to, when we go in the studio, it hasn't been really that way yet. It's got to be exactly like it is for us in the basement, where we can just sit around and do whatever we want, and spontaneously do it. But like for the last record, we went in and we rehearsed with Kim for like a month on some stuff, and it turned out good. It sounds really good, but man, it drove me crazy. And I don't even think we're going to rehearse. We're just for the next time. We're just going to go in the studio, and we're going to mic the drums. I'm going to teach Kevin the song. when I think he hit it, then when I think he hits the song, then we're just going to build over the top of it, because that's how we do it on the 4-track in the basement. So like that's my plan for the next record, is to do it that way. And I've got the songs written for it, so we're ready.
So
I want some money.
Yeah.
Give me some advance money, Matador. 4AD wants us really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just got back from Europe. And it was a really successful tour. We toured for like a month.
Yeah.
And 4AD, man, they love us over there, and they said they want us. So I'll wave that carrot in front of Matador's nose. I like Matt. I'm really happy with Matador. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you got the right label. I mean, I'm
you almost signed with a major label. I would have been miserable now, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how willing are you to go the big route. I mean,
you got to do a lot of. They tell you you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that, but then they don't have to do this and that for you too, in turn, So, I just got to be. I don't want to be. We're too old to be glamour pussies. We can, to be doing every interview, every magazine wants us to be doing 100. We've been asked to do a lot of things like the host 120 minutes and that kind of stuff. And I turn that down. For one thing, I'm not that crazy about most videos. I sit there and introduce videos that I don't even like. So there's a lot of stuff we turn down. Did you see us on the Jon Stewart show?
No.
Yeah. I think we may be going to do Conan maybe.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, I don't mind. See, I don't mind performance. I don't mind the band performing, and I don't mind doing interviews and that kind of stuff. But like hosting things and just being, doing projects with other people, just to be rubbing elbows with them, and touring with bands like Soul Asylum and all that shit. Just these, ass kiss moves. I'm not into doing that.
So being in random,
with a big label, you might have to do a little bit of that.
Yeah, being in Random Notes was not your lifetime goal, I guess, right?
No.
All right. Anything else you want to cover? We covered a lot of ground.
No, it was a good conversation.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm looking forward to seeing you. I had a great time at the watching you at Lollapalooza. And the thing that I thought was so cool was, and that impressed the hell out of my little brother, was, that you were walking around afterward and talking to people and signing autographs and stuff. You just, you don't, you never got the rock star vibe.
Yeah, just mingling with the common folk. Man.
Yeah.
That's what I am, yeah. Yeah, but really, man, I tell you what, I see a lot of that rock star attitude now that we're in touring with people and different things. And there's some bands like I know, Kim Deal was with the Pixies. She said they toured with U2 for 2 months and they never talked to them one time. Mm-hmm. U2 never came around.
Yeah.
We played with Ween, a show in Dallas. Mm-hmm. They never came out and talked to us, anybody. As a matter of fact, they circled the venue in a limousine until it was time for them to come on.
Ween?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is? I mean, I know who they are, but that's they're nobody. How could they?
They're nobody. I know. And they just act like fucking such rock stars.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know, but whatever. It's just. I guess.
So I got to find out what record store you're going to be at 5 o'clock. Do you have any idea what the guy's store is?
Shit. I don't know the name of his record store. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
His name's Todd Robinson. He's from Dayton. He moved there and opened up a record store in Indianapolis. I wish I could think what it was.
Okay. Well, I'll ask a few people. Maybe
he gave me. I'll tell you what though. Let me see. I wrote something out. Just a second.
Okay.
Okay. I know. I have the address.
Okay.
I don't know what it's called. It's 1521 West 86th Street.
1521.
It's in a shopping plaza with.
Oh, I know the store you're talking about. It's I can't think of what it's called, but I know the store. I can
that's what
picture it. That is a cool store too.
You know what I was doing when you called, man? I'm working on a song that I'm supposed to submit to for a soundtrack. Mm-hmm. It's I guess Tom Hanks is working on it, directing and starring in a new movie where they're like a 64 one-hit wonder band, and their one hit's called That Thing You Do, and I'm writing that song right now. Maybe they may want us to perform that for the movie.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
I like doing shit like that.
Yeah.
I was even asked to score a whole movie and shit, so it's an interesting new direction.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, that sounds good. Look, I'm looking forward to seeing you, and I'll come up and say hi, give you a copy of the article on Saturday.
Cool.
All right.
Looking forward to seeing you.
Take care.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Tapes Archive podcast. Please remember you can always find more information about the show and the individual episodes at our website, thetapesarchive.com. Until next time, the vault is closed.